We welcome Joe Peccia, aka JP, principal of Eagles Landing Middle School in West Boca, Florida. How are you, Joe?
Good. How you doing, Scott? How you doing, Daniel?
We're doing great.
Doing
It's great to
great.
see you. All right, Joe. Your predecessor at your school said this about you. He's young and motivated and will bring fresh new ideas to the school. One of the freshest ideas Scott and I have ever heard was implemented by you on August 4th. 1 week ago today, you began the very first interaction with your staff of the new school year, not with sessions on school rules, testing, or new education policy. No, you began it by offering your 120 plus team members three 50-minute sessions on financial literacy. The first session was on the pension. The second was on the 403B and the 457B. And the third was what to know when working with an advisor. A simple question, Joe. Why did you do this?
You know, the pandemic put a lot of us into different perspectives in our lives to really think about where we were. It gave us moments of pause, not that we asked for it, but it did. And I think that for me, I found that there were a lot of questions I had that weren't answered in terms of future and how I was planning, how I was putting those together. And initially, you run with the memes and what's going on out there. Do we open up a TD Ameritrade account? Do I start trading stocks? I'm not a stock trader, but hey, let's give it a shot. Cryptocurrency, there's all sorts of things that you jump into thinking you're going to corner the market, you know. And one of the things I found is that I really do think hard about my staff, and I am very intrinsic about their health, not just from a physical standpoint, from a mental standpoint. The person that I truly have inside my school is only as strong and as supported as they are outside of the school. When they come into this building, if they've got a good peace of mind of where they are and what's next, I truly feel that comes out in their classrooms and in their interactions with our students. So the one thing I wanted to do was strengthen their resolve when it came to making sure that that gut-wrenching question is taken care of. Am I setting myself up the best way I can for me individually to be able to retire and take care of myself when that time comes? Or am I going to be on this boat for a lot longer time? So I didn't mean to go into that long diatribe, but I truly felt this was absolutely imperative for them to get. And it's now a culture at my school, even though it's only been 7 days. We are going to continue to do this throughout professional development and every year moving forward.
Amazing. Love that answer.
What was the reaction when the staff first heard about this, and when did they first hear about that this was going to be kind of a different day than they usually have on their first day back?
Well, they knew that financial literacy was being implemented in our school for the students. They knew there was a little excitement, little buzz with that. What they didn't realize was that it was also becoming a school-wide culture for the staff as well. So I can guarantee you there were definitely mixed responses, and I'm sure they put on the game face when I was talking about it before preschool. And I think what led into it, you just like you guys, you were here, you saw it. There was a lot of silence, a lot of wondering, what am I getting here? And then those who knew what it was about probably had that silence from that gut feeling of, I don't know if I've done everything I'm supposed to. And so as the day went on, you know, things definitely changed. But initially, I think there was a lot of wonderings, like, why are we doing this?
Well, as our listeners just heard, Dan and I, along with a wonderful colleague who works actually for the county, Aaron Standish, we were actually the speakers for that day, and thank you for having us. Have you received any feedback from your staff on how that went?
I did. It was overwhelmingly received in a good way and a way that really got them thinking. And many questions that they have now, they still have a lot of questions, even though They have all the information. They still have questions. And I think it really comes down to them as the individual, because even though we really focus them on the information that they received that day, now they want to get into the nitty gritty of, as an individual, what can I do to leverage this and move this forward, even if it's a slow start or a quick start or even catching up. So that's why we're going to continue doing this. And I truly feel that once I do get them on this path, and I would say in the next 2 years, if most of them are feeling really good about this, I can truly see this coming out and their teaching and their performance as an employee, most importantly as a person, their families. I truly feel like the culture of this campus is going to go through the roof, which is in a good place now. I think we just put it in a much better place, not only for this campus, but I guarantee you for this profession.
Well, Joe, I have to tell you, Scott and I have been doing this for 20 years. We have spoken at a lot of schools. We've spoken in front of a lot of principals and employees. And we are just in agreement that this was our favorite experience ever. You are a fantastic leader. Your staff, the employees, I just cannot tell you what a pleasure it was. And I also can't tell you how good it felt to be back in front of people. Now, we were all social distancing, wearing masks. Everything was very safe. You have the cleanest school, Joe, I have ever seen in my life. Oh my God, hats off to your custodial crew. But Scott and I spoke to groups of 30 to 40 teachers and staff members that would come in. And I just have to tell you, they were just such a great audience. They participated. And it was almost painful, though, Joe, when I had to tell them that if you invest in this company and then you invest in this low cost company, the difference you'll have over time. And you could just see the light bulbs going off. So your school district's 403B and 457B vendor list it's very common to what we see around the country. But the good news is you have one fantastic low cost option, Fidelity Investments. So Scott and I felt great that we were able to bring that news to them. And so they do have that option. Okay, well, Joe, I want to turn it to you, back to you a little bit. Talk about your financial journey. Like, when did you first hear about the 403B? What did you know about these topics? As recently as last year, let's say, or before the pandemic.
You've always heard about it. You always hear that in conversation, sitting at lunches or anywhere you go across a district, or even just out with your friends. The question comes up. You see it on TV. You hear these terms all over the place. The 403B, your investment, how you're taking care of things, how's your future taken care of, and you know that gut wrenching feeling you have inside. Like, have I set myself up? Are we good to go? Those things are everywhere. They're everywhere. And the thing about it is that we don't realize just how much resources are there for teachers. We don't take advantage. We don't leverage this, so that we may not see that on a bi-weekly, or I'm sorry, bi-monthly basis when it comes to the paycheck. But I can guarantee you, when you retire and you're able to still do things, still be able to take care of yourself, your family, there's a good peace of mind there. And I think that the profession has definitely taken its hit, just like a lot of professions out there. But you know what? It held true during the pandemic, and it was still able to take care of people. And I really think at this point in time, instead of fighting for those small percentage points on the raise each year, if we had this leveraged, those things wouldn't be so prevalent. It wouldn't be such a major fight. For some people, it's always going to be that way. But for this, I can guarantee you it's incredibly important to leverage that. And for me, to be quite honest with you, I'm just learning about these things. I'm dipping my toe in the water just like everyone else. So I'm not going to sit here and preach that I've got everything taken care of. I'm learning as I go as well. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of improvements I need to make. And I look forward to doing that. And I look forward to having the ball in my hand and not someone else's hand across the table, that I'll basically use them as the platform to get what I need, as opposed to allowing them to dictate those terms.
Wow, Joe, so much good stuff there. Two points I want to make. Um, your willingness to be vulnerable, because money is very personal. We often don't talk about it. And you can stand in front of your staff and say, look, I don't know all of these things. I want to learn with you. I think when you have that attitude, you create such a powerful community and learning environment. And I also love what you said. Also, you mentioned, and I was a teacher for more than a dozen years, so I know this. You're often fighting to get those small raises every year. But as I showed your teachers, if they pick that high cost vendor, that guy and girl that comes to the staff lounge, or if they go the do it yourself route with Fidelity Investments, they're going to have 400,000 more dollars. And so I really appreciate you. Scott, we're going to steal that. We'll credit you, JP, but I think we should start making that point. Okay,
No problem.
Joe, talk about your leadership philosophy. And before you do, though, I just want to say, as someone who's been in a lot of schools, both as a teacher and I also taught student teachers at the University of New Mexico. So I would go to their classrooms. So I've probably been in over 100 schools. And I alluded to how clean your school was. But as someone with a son who just loves engineering and a daughter who loves to cook, you have a incredible makerspace with 3D printers. You have this fabulous kitchen. I think there was like 6 like cooking bays. You have an electronic arts program. So talk about your school and talk about your leadership philosophy, Joe.
Our school, we have pre-engineering, we have pre-culinary, we have pre-IT, we have esports, we have financial literacy, we have chorus band, drama. We have so many strong electives to support the core subject areas because I truly believe in that part of the nucleus, and everything that surrounds it is the supportive infrastructure. And especially when it comes to social emotional learning support for our kids, to make sure that all those things come together. But the experience is, with my philosophy, guys, it has to be relevant. It's my greatest fear as a leader, is relevance. And once we come in every day and we just pick up the same and we continue that, why are we expecting anything different because we're sitting here? The difference comes is when you make it. The difference comes when you push for it. And if you see it out there, you got to understand you're already 10 years behind. If it's already made it out to the public, then you are 10 years behind. You're supposed to be teaching things that haven't made it there yet. So our kids have that perfect exposure to be able to lead when the industry does explode. And in public education right now, we're all pushing. We all say the coin terms. We all say things that make us feel better about ourselves and doing things in education. And the problem I see is that we say a lot, we don't walk a lot. We are doing a lot of things to make ourselves feel better so we can go to bed at night, but we're not pushing the envelope to make those experiences happen for our kids. There are times when it hurts. There are times when I've got to make decisions that are difficult, but I have to make that experience available for our kids. And it's unfortunate sometimes that it does take the place of pieces that have been in play for a long time, but if they're no longer hitting that relevance and the electives that are out there aren't drawing the kids anymore, it is your responsibility to think about that and bring that to the table. And to be honest with you, it also supports my teachers. It supports what they do every day because that's what the draw is of bringing them to school. Stay relevant or stay out of education, because that's the most important thing our kids need right now. If you don't stay relevant, you got no business. If you're not way ahead of the game, then you're way behind. And our kids are the only ones suffering, and our teachers and staff.
Joe, that sounds like an amazing bumper sticker. Stay relevant or stay out of public education. I just love that. And I want to point out one of the coolest things in the makerspace was you had actual wrenches that were chainsaw size that were used on the space shuttle. And what we're going to do for our YouTube viewers, after we record the podcast, we'll do just a quick little video and I'll show some pictures from that day. One of which is me holding that wrench. Okay, I got one more question before I turn over to Scott. Joe, we wish every school district in the country had someone like you at their school and would be willing to do this for their staff. What would you tell a school leader listening to this who would love to do something similar, but worries that there are too many other things to get through?
I would say you are stuck in the moment. You're staring at the shiny object in the water and don't realize that there's a bigger fish just down the creek if you stay patient, or if you really start to think ahead, 3 steps ahead for your crew, that there are moments of pain, there are moments that make it difficult. But if you don't think ahead, then you do not belong in that chair. And you have to think about the health and well-being of everyone who supports you in doing your job. There is no principal without teachers, staff, secretaries, custodians. There is no principal. And if I can't take care of my team, who is going to end up supporting me, then that's on me. Okay. And I think everyone should take that into consideration, that leaders, if you're going to lead, don't use your index fingers, use your thumbs, because everything starts with you. And family first, I hear the motto all the time, but family first starts with that person that you're pointing the thumbs at. It starts with you, because if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of everyone around you, who then can't take care of you when you need them. So make sure you build an infrastructure around you of support that can come back and support you when that time's needed as well. And we forget that. We come out, we get all the information, we get our checklist, we feel good, we got it all thrown out there. And before you know it, you just stuff 10 pounds of you know what in a 5-pound bag. And you're looking at your teachers going, hey, I gave you all that information. How come you didn't bring it up? Oh, you mean that day when you threw everything at me and you wonder why it wasn't digested? Please. That's not the way to do it. You give them something relevant, they know that what you mean family first, you mean it. And that's the most important piece to me.
Well, I think 20 years from now, these teachers will remember not Scott and I, but what they learned that day.
Yeah, you pretty much answered some of the questions that I was going to ask. I guess I kind of want to talk about a little bit just about how interesting and kind of how fun it was to speak to your staff. You have a mix of staff from younger to closer to retirement, and there was so much enthusiasm, which I think maybe part of that. I'm not sure, what if you guys were online last year or how much of you were in the classrooms here on the West Coast. We were mostly online, but it was, for us, it was just really neat to be in front of teachers in person and teaching them. And the response that we got was, there was definitely some jaw drops, but it was also just very encouraging. The teachers were not, they were not victims. They wanted to learn more. They were interested, and you could see it in their eyes that, this isn't something that they're just going to take in and then forget. They're going to move forward and do something about this. And you were saying, it's not just information, but it's, what do they do next? So how do you follow up on this so that it's not just sort of an information dump and then they forget about it? Like, what would you think would be next steps for continuing to build on this?
Well, Daniel, just like you said, they wanted to be, actionable immediately and get things done. You guys already know that the first week, preschool week for teachers, that they are running 1,000,000 miles an hour. I can guarantee you that there was a lot of people who had the intention to get things done and are wanting to get things done. But I can tell you they'll be wanting to get things done for the next 2 or 3 years if you leave it that way, which is why it has to become a culture at the school where there's a constant. We have professional development days. We have teacher work days. I've already got Aaron coming back for our first professional development day to offer a 1-session recap and just be there for a few hours to be able to sit with teachers and just to give them and build up their knowledge base. A constant reminder that this isn't a do it 1 year thing. This is a when you need to, let's go, let's jump in. And we're going to slowly get all our teachers in a point where this is culture. This is going to be main conversation, that when they come in and they go to their first meetings and new teachers come in, they'll probably be telling them, hey, I need you to sit down and pick this up and understand what you need to do. And that'll be the culture at Eagles Landing. And I'm hoping, to be honest with you, it helps me with recruiting down the road. It brings teachers from all over the place because they know they're going to be much more supported in their personal lives by coming and working here, that it's just a benefit of being a part of this school. And to be quite honest with you, there's no reason why we can't build this better from a district level, because imagine being a salesman and having the product that everyone actually needs and wants and it's a good price. That's an easy job for a salesman. You don't have to push much. And that's the way we should really take a look at this. But when we give it that little sliver, once a teacher is hired, and then we walk away because you know, don't want to put your hands on it. You do what you want to. It's your money. Our teachers need our help. Our staff needs our help. They need to be able to constantly be reminded that things change and things happen and they can do something about it. But when we step away and we let it go and sit for 3 years, the first thing they say is, why haven't we done this sooner? Why haven't we done this again? So guess what? It's a culture here now. It's not going away. It'll be constantly brought up until even I get all my stuff into play and even when I adjust it. So I'm going to tell you right now, it's here to stay and it always will, because I want the strongest staff in the building and outside the building.
Scott, we just heard more magic words from Joe. We want school districts to recruit and tout good K-12, 403B, 457B plans. This is what the corporate world does. Look at our benefits package. And if you're able to say, look, we're going to teach you financial literacy skills, we're going to help you make the wisest decisions with your retirement plans, I think that is going to pay off so much, Joe. Well, Joe, what I'd like to do is we'll go ahead and pause and then we'll show those pictures, which we'll show on the YouTube channel. But before we do that, is there anything, sort of final words, Joe, before we go to that part?
Honestly, I don't know if this is worth the reel or not, but just to, you know, really emphasize and really talk about it, that, you know, this is something, when we say the word, you know, in teaching, you've heard it all the time. Oh, we're teaching great benefits. What does that mean? And what does it take to get there? Because it's not handed to you on a silver platter. You don't sign the dotted line and the benefits just roll to you. And all honestly, you got your health care, you got those things, but you still need to understand how to go in and set those things up. And I really feel like that's the part we need to be a lot better at, so that everyone can make just better decisions for themselves. And the same thing comes down with the investment part, that when they can set it and forget it, you're going to have a solid teacher for 25, 30 years. Solid.
Wow, those are great closing words. Okay, Joe, we'll pause here and then we'll show the pictures. Okay, I just want to show 3 pictures here, Joe. Get your take. So I got this picture from a newspaper article on you. Are you familiar with that article?
I am, absolutely.
It's when you had just gotten hired, and what I loved, Joe, is that you're a former elementary school teacher, or I don't know if you taught elementary school, but you were a former elementary school principal, and having worked for 8 years at an elementary school, I love that you have that background.
I've taught them all: high school, middle school, elementary. I've been all of them.
Oh, I love that, Scott. We should have asked him that for the regular podcast. So you start. What grade did you start with, Joe?
When I started teaching out of college, I was hired right away at Suncoast High School and taught physical education, and I was the head baseball coach.
And you were a baseball player of some ability, right?
When you say the word "some," I don't know if you want to use that from a mathematics standpoint or not, but basically, you know what, I was one of those hard workers and needed to be if I was going to be at the play at the college level. And you know what, a lot of great guys out there, great ball players. I learned a lot of great lessons, and I think it really sculpted me to be the person who I was from a competitive standpoint, and when stuff gets tough, the tough get going kind of deal and stuff like that. So it taught me a lot about grit and pushing through.
Love it. Love that story too. We're going to link to it on the podcast notes. Okay, so looking left to right, so that's Aaron Standish, who is actually a financial literacy coordinator for your school district. Oh my gosh, I wish every school district could have someone like this. And I should point out, Aaron was interviewed on the podcast, episode 133. I will also link that. And there's Joe holding a copy of Teach and Retire Rich. The school district bought over 100 copies, 130 copies or so, gave it away to the staff. And then there's some old guy. And then there's Scott Downhauer. I love the picture. I love your multi-purpose room, all the college banners. Super impressive, Joe.
Really cool, man. Great spot. And that is the moment. If you want to see a moment, you look at all those people talking. They have no idea what's coming. No idea. Hey, great to see you. We're here. We're there. You know, a lot of things. And to be quite honest with you, the timing of this, when you see it, is, well, why aren't they wearing masks and this and that? Guys, at this point in time on August 4th, it was optional.
Wow. But not now, right? Because I know there's some issues in Florida. Yeah.
Now. But we were wearing them, but it was optional on this date and time.
Yeah, well, it's only a week ago, Joe, right? That's amazing how fast that is. Well, I
Welcome to
love
the
how,
profession, right?
yeah, ooh, I love the way it says, welcome to the NEST Financial Literacy Training, August 6, 2021. And again, I was one of those teachers sitting at one of those tables all those years ago, probably going, oh, all I want to do is get to my classroom and work on my lesson plans, right? Joe, you probably felt that way too as a teacher, right? This is
Sure.
standing in the way of you doing all the other things.
You think about it, there's no pressure at all. The teachers will say they're going, he had all summer and this is what he planned.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're glad to have heard good feedback. Aaron has told us some wonderful things. A bunch of your teachers joined our 403BY's Facebook group, and they're
Yeah.
already jumping in, asking great questions. So that's a way that we can continue to provide ongoing support. And as you know, we're a nonprofit. We're not in the money making business. We're lucky enough that we can just do this to help people like you and your school and your staff. So we,
Sure. And you've also got some principals who I think are joining in. If you're seeing them from Jersey, from anywhere from New England and Massachusetts and Texas, just be prepared because
okay.
I have shared your information with colleagues across the United States and urge them to really start considering this for their teams.
Oh, wow, that is just fantastic news, Joe. And we just love that we can spread our mission. And then the last picture, oh my God, my son loved this, Joe. When I showed him this picture of this wrench, which again is like chainsaw, at least size. I don't know in weight, but maybe so. It had some weight to it. Do you want to talk about any of the space shuttle items that you have at your school?
Sure. We are actually here at our school, we have a program. It's called Project Lead the Way, and it's part of our support infrastructure for pre-engineering where we partner up with NASA. And it's not when I say partner up, we're not building shuttles together, but they do, provide curriculum and support here and there. And also, as getting the program started many years back, even before I got here, they were actually sending us real tools that were utilized on the shuttles and things in that capacity, which is what you're holding is an actual, not just an actual tool, but a tool that was utilized. And, as part of it, you guys also saw that we had a heat shield replica in the room that was built after the Space Shuttle Challenger had gone down, and it was
Mm,
utilized to test to see where the weaknesses were in the heat shield. And so that was put up as part of the inspiration that we make mistakes in here so that mistakes are
mm.
limited out there. So the room is built for the students to be able to feel comfortable with knowing that mistakes are going to happen, but let's bring those down as many as we can. So if we learn here and we have the bravery to fail right now, those times will be limited when we get out there.
Wow. What a message to teach kids. I feel like when I went through school, like mistakes were punished as opposed to viewed as learning opportunities. Maybe just because I made so many mistakes. And Scott, if Joe had said, we are helping NASA build a space shuttle, I would have believed it.
Hey, the I couldn't believe the classrooms that I saw. I mean, that engineering room was so much fun. I was telling my son about it, who's now a junior in college, and he couldn't believe it. He's like, "Oh my gosh, I wish I had that at my school. It would have been so cool." And I just want to point out, I know we're looking at engineering. We talked a lot about the engineering room, but I also got to peek in on the drama room, the musical room, which wasn't finished yet, but was also spectacular. And it looks like you've got some really cool things going on there also.
Yeah, and I'm sure, as people listen to it, well, he's probably got all that money and this and that. No, guys, no, this is all about leveraging community
Mm,
support and putting things together and making sure that the district is supporting you as well. And so this isn't about putting your hand out and getting things. And so you build things because you want that vision for the students. And don't cry me a river about the money's not there. If you have the vision and it's right for kids, you go out and you fight for it, you make it happen. So please know that this was a lot of hard work, but it's only been 4 years and I've gotten, I think, close to 10 rooms done. So we're getting some good leverage. I had really good experiences, even at my elementary years and raising a lot of money to support the students. And I think it just comes down to having that vision and being able to share it well. If you can share it well, then people will get behind you. And so it's a great thing. And also in this engineering room, I know, Scott, this is your favorite. I forgot to show you guys We also do drone racing here, guys.
Oh,
So
Oh
the
my
kids do
goodness.
drone racing. It's pretty cool. We turn the lights off in the hallway at night, and the kids just race the drones through the hallways and navigate the school.
wow.
It's pretty cool.
Okay, that would be so
Wow.
much fun.
Oh my gosh. It feels like a high school. And I think what's so impressive is it's not, it's a middle school.
That's it. My goal is to make high school a bummer.
It's all downhill for these students, right? Oh my gosh, Joe. Well, Joe, you have just been unbelievable. I have a really good feeling that we are going to stay in touch. And again, you know that we would be happy to help in any way down the road.
Oh, absolutely, man. I look forward to it. And anything you guys need from me, let me know. I know sometimes it's hard to really get in with principals. And to be honest with you, they are protective of their staff. They're protective of what comes down the road. So I think that, also having other principals who are still in the practice, that are still taking care of staff members who still understand the pulse could really help out. So if you ever need me to speak to other principals or administrators or
Oh,
districts, I can really help them out to understand that, with what you and Scott bring to the table, Daniel, is so important. And Scott's integrity and the pieces that he brings to the table, which really give people that peace of mind that these people are here for us. They are not here for anyone else.
well, we're going to take you up on that offer, Joe, because again, we want to get this information in front of as many teachers as we can. Joe, thank you again. I know we're standing between you and getting to your family because I know you're on the East Coast. I'm sure it's a long day, especially with everything that's going on. Joe, thank you again so much.
Not a problem, you guys. Anytime. I appreciate it.